Sri Bhagavanuvacha idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyamyanasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshyasi shubhat.
So tute means indeed to you, or we can say but to you. In this context, since Bhagavan is just starting the chapter, indeed to you who anasuyaha, one who does not cavil, one who is not of fault finding in nature. Pravakshyami, I shall now declare, is what Bhagavan says. What will he declare? Idam, this. Guhyatamam, the greatest secret. Jnanam, knowledge. Vijnana sahitam, along with experience. Jnatva, having known, yaja, with. Jnatva, yajnatva, having known which. Mokshase, you shall be free. Ashubhat. Mokshase shubhat is one word, but it is moksha ashubhat. Free from the impure. So to you who does not cavil, I shall surely declare this. I shall indeed declare this. The greatest secret, the most profound knowledge, along with experience, which having known, you will be free from the impure and the evil. We have seen earlier what impure is, what evil is. Impure is nothing but the disturbances that are there in our mind. And evil is the result of those disturbances that the various types of paradharma, the various types of activities that we perform that are not aligned to dharma. And it also works other way around. We perform those activities, and because of which the disturbances occur in our mind. And Bhagavan says, idam. Idam here stands for what has been spoken to you earlier. Remember, we are on chapter 9. So Bhagavan has been talking for a long time. What has been spoken to you earlier, what will be told to you in the future and now. So idam refers to the past, to the future, and to the present. Pravakshyami, I shall explain, I shall declare. And not only I shall declare or explain, I shall explain to you very well, so that you comprehend, so that you understand. Pravakshyami comes from prakarshane vakshyami. Prakarshane, enlighten. I'll explain to you in such a manner that you will be enlightened. And why will I explain to you? Why will I declare this knowledge to you? Because anasuyave, because you are one who does not have the nature of finding faults. If anyway, people are not going to believe Arjuna, they're saying, what are you talking, Krishna, wasting my time? Then there's no point in Krishna talking. Arjuna is, first he asked for it. He wants this knowledge. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Please share with me. I want to learn. I am your shishya. I bow to you. And then he is receptive. He is attentive. He is asking questions. So neither are you doubtful in nature. Doubtful meaning complaining in nature. You can have doubts, ask questions, but not doubtful of what is being told. And you are engaged. Asuya comes from guneshu dosha darshanam. In what is good, finding faults, seeing faults. What nonsense is this? This doesn't make any sense to me. This is not for me. Cavil essentially is born out of conceit or jealousy, or conceit and jealousy. And it prevents a human being from rising in knowledge. When you doubt the source of the knowledge, or when you doubt the knowledge itself, you don't learn it. And thereby, in this case, preventing a divine disposition. Bhagavan says that he will share this knowledge only when the person is anasuyave. And then he says, jnana vijnana sahitam. Knowledge along with the experiential wisdom. Knowledge here refers to something that presents itself. If the means of knowledge is there, then the knowledge arises. As simple as if I have the sight to see and I see some element. I'm seeing your Sarika's face now. I have the knowledge that Sarika is in this Zoom satsang. So the pramanam or the means enable the knowledge by itself. It is said that pramayaha karanam pramanam. The reason for knowledge are the means. For the object world, like I explained just now, the means of knowledge are the sense organs, the mind and the intellect. So the sense organs will initially perceive, the mind, the objective mind process it, then it takes it to the intellect processes it, pushes it to the subjective mind, which then through the organs of action help us to permeate outside, express outside into our environment. For the realization of the self, the pramana or the means are the shastras. Like I said, the eye is required to see, to perceive the world. Obviously, when I say eye, the other sense organs also. But the eye cannot see itself. For the eye to see itself, it needs a reflective medium like a mirror or this camera which is turned on to me or a water body that reflects, some reflective medium. The reflective medium for understanding the I, as in the I, the letter I, which stands for the self, in this case, that is the Shastras. And what is the knowledge that is available in the Shastras? What is it about? Number one, Bhagavat Tattva or Brahma Tattva, which is the subject or the Vishaya of knowledge. And secondly, Bhagavad Bhakti or Brahma Bhakti, which is devotion towards the subject itself. It is bhakti that converts knowledge into experiential wisdom. We see that in our day-to-day life. For us to actually perform really well in something, we have to imbue completely be absorbed in that knowledge. And that full, complete absorption comes from bhakti. And it is experiential wisdom that converts knowledge into bhakti. So it works both ways. Thus Bhagavan says, I will give you both. And what kind of knowledge is this? Guhya tamam. Guhya means secret. Guhya tara means something which is more secret. And Guhya tamam is something which is most secret. Like we see in government files, right? Secret, top secret. Extremely confidential. Right? So something which is most secret. Now secrets, especially when we are referring to government files, secrets are of two types. And when you're referring to government files, it is something that should not be told, should not be shared. It has to be guarded, confidential. And another type of secret is something that is least known. Even if it is shared, even if it is shared through loudspeakers, even if it is shared loud and clear, it remains unknown. And even those who know it only at an intellectual level, not at an experiential level. Thus, it is Guhya because Jnana may be there, but it does not convert into Vijnana. So that kind of a Guhya tamam knowledge I will share with you. And Bhagavan says, Yagyatva, knowing this knowledge, knowing this secret, Moksha se Shubhat, having known which you will be free from all impurities and all evil. Ashubha, the most impure thing that a human being can have is what? Ignorance. Ignorance is the most impure thing because ignorance leads to limitations. Limitations leads to a sense of individuality. And individuality leads to indulgence in doership and enjoyership, in karta and bhokta. And that karta and bhokta leads to papa and punya. And punya and papa is what leads to punarjanma. That is why the most highest of impurities is ignorance. We also saw initially, when we did our satsang, the first satsang, introductory, that the ladder of fall starts with ignorance. And Bhagavan says all of this will be gone, this entire chain that starts from ignorance, this lineage of calamity, the Ananta Parampara. And Bhagavan says, you will be freed from it, the cycle, Parampara of life and death. In the beginning of chapter 7, Bhagavan says, Jnanam tehamsa vijnanam idam vakshamyas seshataha yagyatva neha bhuvonyat jnatavyam avashishyate. This is the second verse of chapter 7. There Bhagavan is saying, having known which, same knowledge is referring to. Having known this same knowledge, there remains nothing else to be known, which implies sukha prapti. And here Bhagavan is saying, having known which, all the impurities and aspect of doing evil will go away. This implies dukkha nivriti. It is said that in Vedanta, that moksha is nothing but atyantika dukkha nivriti plus paramananda prapti. So cessation of all sorrows and attainment of supreme bliss. So in chapter 7, Bhagavan said, I will show you how through this knowledge you can be blissful. And here Bhagavan is saying, I will show you how through this knowledge you can be completely free of sorrows.